Welcome in. It's the start of season number 5 with Wealdstone. It's our second season of the Championship as we aim for the Premier League. As you can see from the graphic, we are spending £140,000 per week on wages, whereas Leicester are spending 1.3 million. So quite the disparity there in wages. We are 101 to win the title with the bookies, and the media favourites this year are Brighton, Leicester and Southampton. And there's no surprise that those are the three teams that were relegated from the Premier League last year. So as we start our season, we're playing Birmingham City at home. And our new signing, Hoosney, has scored both goals in this 2-0 win. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to call it Hoosney. Great start for him. Hoping he's our next Cassidy, our find that bags all the goals for us. And weirdly, our second game of the season is actually against Birmingham again. This is in the Carabao Cup. We're away, and as per usual, not really that interested in how we do in the Carabao Cup, really. Don't really need to clog up the midweek with games of the Carabao Cup. Perhaps when we're in the Premier League and it's a cup to win, then it'll be a different story. But at the moment, not really interested there. Birmingham go a man down, and as Angel Gamers squares it here, Hoosney gets his second of this game. So that's 4 on the season for him. What a great start. And of course, there's some bad news. He got injured in that game, and he's out for 6 weeks with a sports hernia. So just when you think things are going to start well for us. Our second game in the league is against Leicester. Now, these, as I've mentioned, are the team with a £1.3 million wages per week. So they've obviously got a very strong Premier League squad. They've still got James Maddison, who is a very, very good player still in this year. And they've got plenty of other players that are miles better than ours. So no surprise that they're going to hammer us when we play them away. Now, something that I do like to do in the off-season, at the beginning of the season, is with my training, is I add in the extracurricular activities of team bonding and community outreach. Now, the reason being is every off-season, we're going to sign a load of players. That's what we play Football Manager for. You know, signing new players, building a squad. So there's always new faces in the summer, no matter what league you're in. It's especially apparent as you're climbing the leagues, as you almost get a new squad every season. So the extracurricular, easy for me to say, activities of team bonding, your happiness is greatly increased, the team cohesion is greatly increased, and you also get a chance of the teamwork attribute to increase. Now, you can use this one also during the season if your players go through a bad stretch, because it could increase their happiness. And happiness is really important for your team to be playing well, is to have that green up arrows. But especially at the beginning of the season, you'd like to increase the team cohesion so they play better together, because they need to get to know all their teammates that they've never met them before. Community outreach, that is just team cohesion, so it doesn't really affect the happiness, but it also increases the teamwork attribute. So add these into your pre-season and early season training, along with match review and match preview. That's the match preparation, because that will get the players more used to the tactic. So if you add these two, you get team cohesion and team tactic, and it'll give your team a bit more of a kickstart at the beginning of the season, when you can see that a lot of the players are still learning the tactic, and they're not playing quite so well together. So those are my little my tips to get the most out of my pre-season and early season, because I'm always going to struggle early season when you have so many new players, especially at the beginning of this season. After the Ipswich game, we lost 2-0 away. That was when the transfer window closed, so we were still buying new players at that point. So you can't just rely on all your pre-season. You've got to tweak your early season tactics as well. Now, the training schedule I use, I've copied it from a YouTube channel called Evidence-Based Football Manager. I'll put the link in the description for his channel. He's done all the hard work testing all the different training attributes, and his schedule seems to get the best results for player progression. So that's certainly the schedule you want to use for most of the season to get the progression. But early in the season and in pre-season, I like to tweak it to get my team to be more familiar with the tactic and more familiar with each other. Southampton, we just seeing here, these were a strong team last year, and the media have them finishing 5th, I think. So going to be a strong team again this year. We run away with a 3-0 home win, so that's an excellent victory for us. In the Leicester game earlier, before I started rabbiting about training, Angel Gomez got sent off, was going to miss 3 games, which he missed. And then his first game back, he got injured, so he was out for 5 weeks. So a couple of key attacking injuries for us early in the season. So as we see this game against Sunderland here, my away tactic used to be, before I say that, this goal by Vinheim here, look at this. That might be goal of the season. He's taken it all the way from the right back area, ran all the way up the pitch, and smashed it in. So yeah, so our away tactic. Here's the replay. Our away tactic was a mid-block line of engagement, standard defensive line, standard trigger press, and drop off more defensive. Now I found that we were sitting back too much. So when you have a different tactic for home and away, which you probably should, because I like to attack more at home, and away you need to be a bit more cautious, or against really tough opponents, I might use this tactic. So I think with the mid-block line and the standard defensive line, I was just sitting back too much. So we've changed it this season, and we've now got a high press line of engagement. Still the standard defensive line, because we don't want to be pushed too far up, and a standard trigger press. So we're going to see how it changes this season. Obviously, we're just winning 6-1 here against Sunderland away, which is a great result. Up to 8th in the table after 8 games. I think that's a good start for us, 13 points. Like I say, early in the season, as long as you're still kind of in touch, that's fine, because your team, there's a lot of new moving parts. Tactic, get used to it. Players getting used to each other, so that's fine. Now the home tactic, which I normally use, which is the attacking one, it places the higher defensive line and the high press line of engagement, and trigger press is more often. Whereas on the away tactic, I just have trigger press as the standard default, the one in the middle. So at home, I press a lot higher and a lot more. Whereas away, I think I was just too passive. So got a bit more pressing. So we're going to see how that does. Obviously, we won away at Luton as well, 2-1. So 2 away wins on the trot after the team starting to get used to things. So potentially might be a good little change there. But we'll see how the season goes on. A draw against Reading, not the greatest result, but we're up to 5th now in the playoff spots. Like I say, again, early in the season, that's good for us, I think. I think that's good. Our other striker, Burkhart, seems to be starting quite well as well. He's bagged a few goals. So between Burkhart and Housney, we might have that like golden partnership. Although they don't play together in a game, obviously, but the rotation that they have. And Palmer, he was really disappointing last year. Now I think him and Narty, the Danish midfielder, this was a really disappointing home loss against West Brom. They might have a better second season, because sometimes players have a bad first season. Well, not a great first season, and then as they start to gel, they become a lot better. Anyway, good start, 5th, 20 points from 12 games, and thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.